The bright lights of the Galactic Council chamber made Ambassador Zex Toral's scaled skin shine with a blue glow. He stood tall before the council members, his 4 arms placed respectfully at his sides. This was a great honor. After 60 years of diplomatic service, he had been chosen for one of the most important missions in recent history. "Ambassador Zex Toral," said the head counselor, her voice soft but carrying across the circular room. "We have detected a new civilization that has achieved faster-than-light communication. They call themselves humans, and their planet is named Earth." Zex Toral nodded. This was standard procedure. The Council had strict rules about when to contact new species. Once a planet developed FTL communication, they were ready to join the galactic community. "We believe this will be a routine first contact," continued the head counselor. "Our long-range scans show they are still developing as a civilization. They have only left their own planet in the last century. Their technology is primitive, but advancing quickly." Another council member, an elderly being with glowing tentacles, raised a datapad. "Earth is located in a remote spiral arm of the galaxy. They have been isolated from other species. You will be their first contact with life beyond their world." Zex Toral felt a surge of pride. First contacts were prestigious assignments. He had performed 12 of them in his career, more than any other living diplomat. "I accept this honor with gratitude," he said, touching his upper right hand to his chest in the formal gesture of his people. "I will represent the council with dignity and care." "There is one thing to note," said a third council member, this one a cloud of gas contained in a transparent suit. "Our observations suggest humans are somewhat unpredictable. Their cultures are diverse and sometimes conflict with each other, but nothing in our data suggests any danger." Zex Toral almost laughed. Every new species was unpredictable in its own way. That was why the Council sent experienced diplomats like him. "I understand," he said. "I will prepare cultural briefings with my team and depart within 1 lunar cycle." "Very good," said the head counselor. "The Council places its trust in you, Ambassador." As Zex Toral left the chamber, his assistant Grenval was waiting. The younger diplomat bowed slightly. "Congratulations, Ambassador," said Grenval. "Another first contact mission." "Yes, and likely my last before retirement," said Zex Toral. "Let's begin research immediately. I want to know everything about these humans before we meet them." Far away, floating 200 miles above Earth, the International Space Station orbited quietly. Inside, NASA astronaut Jack Miller floated toward a control panel, pushing himself along with gentle touches to the handrails. "Hey Susan, come look at this," he called to his crewmate. Susan Rodriguez pushed off from her workstation and glided over to join him. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat ponytail that floated slightly in the zero gravity. "What's up?" she asked. Jack pointed to a screen showing unusual signal patterns. "The Deep Space Communication Array is picking up something weird. These patterns don't match any of our satellites or known space junk." Susan frowned as she studied the screen. "Could be a glitch in the system." "That's what I thought too, but it's been consistent for the past 3 hours." Jack tapped a few commands, bringing up more data. "And look at this. The signal is coming from beyond lunar orbit, way beyond." Susan's eyes widened. "You're not suggesting." "I'm not suggesting anything," Jack said carefully. "But someone should tell Houston about this." "I'll send the data down on the next communication window," Susan replied. "Let's keep monitoring it." Neither of them said what they were both thinking, that the signal pattern was too regular, too precise to be natural. As the space station continued its silent journey around Earth, the signal grew stronger. In his quarters aboard the Galactic Council vessel, Zex Toral studied the reports on humans with increasing interest. They seemed simple enough, bipedal mammals with short lifespans and limited technology. This would be an easy assignment, he thought. He had no idea how wrong he was. The large silver ship of Ambassador Zex Toral appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. It simply winked into existence, hanging in space like a shining teardrop. Earth's military bases went on high alert. Radar operators stared at their screens in disbelief. Phone calls woke up presidents, prime ministers, and generals all over the world. Inside his ship, Zextoril calmly prepared the standard first contact message. His four hands moved quickly over the control panels. "Ambassador, are you certain we should not observe longer before announcing ourselves?" asked Grenval, his assistant. Zextoril made a sound like gentle bells, which was how his species laughed. "The Council protocols are clear. Once we confirm they have faster-than-light communication capability, we make contact. It's better to be direct. Remember the Zentari. We watched them for too long, and they detected us anyway. It only made them suspicious." Grenval looked troubled. "But our data on humans seems incomplete. They appear more aggressive than other species we've contacted." "All species show aggression in their development," said Zextoril confidently. "That's why we wait until they reach this technological level. By now, they should have united their planet and moved beyond their primitive conflicts." Grenval wanted to point out that the scans showed humans still had many separate countries and armies, but he remained silent. The ambassador had done this 12 times before. He knew what he was doing. On Earth, in a hastily prepared meeting room at the United Nations building in New York, world leaders and military officials gathered in barely controlled panic. "The alien transmission has been received in all languages simultaneously," said Alan Pearson, the lead U.S. diplomat who had been rushed to the meeting. "They call themselves the Galactic Council and say they come in peace." Patricia Williams, the UN representative, adjusted her glasses nervously. "Do we believe them?" Colonel Frank Mitchell of the U.S. Space Force shook his head. "Their technology is far beyond ours. If they wanted to attack, they could have done so without announcing themselves. They're requesting a landing site for diplomatic meetings," Allen continued. "They specifically asked for a neutral location acceptable to all Earth governments." "Geneva," Patricia suggested immediately. "It's traditionally neutral and has facilities for international diplomacy." The world leaders nodded in agreement. It was the safest choice given the circumstances. 3 days later, under heavy security and with military forces discreetly positioned nearby, a smaller vessel descended from the main ship. It landed gently in a large open area that had been cleared in Geneva's Parc des Bastions. Thousands of people watched from behind barricades. Millions more watched on television and the internet. The sleek craft opened, and Ambassador Zextoril emerged. The crowd gasped. He was tall and slender with blue-purple skin that shimmered in the sunlight. His 4 arms and large, gentle eyes gave him an almost mythical appearance. He wore flowing robes covered in symbols that seemed to shift and move in the light. Alan Pearson stepped forward as the designated representative of Earth. His mouth felt dry. He had spent his career in diplomacy, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you," he said, hoping his voice sounded steadier than it felt. Zextoril raised his upper right hand in greeting. "I bring the peaceful greetings of the Galactic Council, a union of 37 spacefaring civilizations. We are pleased to welcome humans to the galactic community." The ceremony continued smoothly, exactly as Zextoril had experienced many times before. The humans seemed awed but respectful. He felt confident this would be a successful mission. Later that evening, as he reviewed his initial reports in his quarters, Zextoril felt pleased. The humans had reacted just as expected, with wonder, some fear, and cautious diplomatic responses. "Standard first contact," he dictated into his report. "Subject species showing expected behavior patterns. No unusual complications foreseen." How quickly that assessment would change. The formal meeting room was set up perfectly. Flags from all nations stood against the walls. The temperature was carefully controlled. Ambassador Zextoril sat at the large round table, his 4 hands neatly folded in front of him. Across from him sat the human delegation, 12 representatives from different countries. Alan Pearson was speaking about Earth's history. Zex Torrell listened with polite interest. This was all standard procedure. First came the formal introductions, then cultural exchange, and finally discussion of trade and technology sharing. It had gone this way on 12 different worlds. Dr. Olivia Martinez, a xenobiologist with dark curly hair and kind eyes, watched the ambassador closely. She had been assigned to study him and ensure his biological needs were met. She noticed how his skin changed colors slightly when different topics were mentioned. Was it an emotional response? She made notes on her tablet. And now, if you would share information about the Galactic Council's structure. Alan Pearson was saying when the door burst open. A man with a camera rushed in. Ambassador. Gary Wells from Global News Network. The people demand to know. Are you planning to take our resources? Will Earth become a colony? How many other species have you conquered? Security guards moved quickly to grab the reporter, but the damage was done. Zex Torrell's skin flashed a bright yellow. His four hands trembled. In all his diplomatic missions, no one had ever interrupted a formal first meeting. It was unthinkable. How did he get in here? Alan shouted as the guards removed the struggling reporter. Zex Torrell struggled to regain his composure. Is this normal behavior on your world? Patricia Williams looked embarrassed. I apologize, Ambassador. Our media can be aggressive in pursuing stories. Aggressive, Zex Torrell repeated the word slowly. Yes, I see. The meeting continued, but Zex Torrell seemed distracted. Dr. Martins noticed his skin remained a pale yellow color. When the meeting ended, she approached him. Ambassador, I noticed you seemed uncomfortable with the reporter's interruption. I want to assure you that we're taking steps to prevent such incidents in the future. Zex Torrell blinked his large eyes. On most worlds, formal diplomatic protocols are strictly followed. Is it common here for individuals to act against established procedures? Dr. Martinez considered her answer carefully. Humans value individual freedom highly. Sometimes this means people act unpredictably. Unpredictably, Zex Torrell repeated. The word seemed to trouble him. Meanwhile, in a secure military facility near Washington, D.C., Air Force Colonel Richard Howards studied footage of the alien ship. What do we know about their weapon systems? He asked the team of analysts. Nothing definitive, sir, replied one young officer. Their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Colonel Howard frowned. The president wants contingency plans. If these aliens aren't as friendly as they claim, we need to be ready. Sir, with respect, their technology is at least 200 years ahead of ours, said another analyst. If they wanted to harm us, they could do it easily. That's what everyone assumes, Colonel Howard said. But every species has weaknesses. Find theirs. The next day, Ambassador Zex Torrell was scheduled to visit a local school. Children had prepared songs and artwork to welcome him. His assistant, Grenval, noticed the ambassador seemed nervous. The children will be controlled, yes? Zex Torrell asked the human guide. They're excited to meet you, but their teachers will keep them orderly, the guide assured him. When they arrived, 30 children aged about 10 years old sat in neat rows. But when Zex Torrell entered, their excitement couldn't be contained. They jumped up, shouting questions all at once, pressing forward to see him better. Zex Torrell stepped back, his skin turning bright yellow again. Dr. Martinez, who was observing, realized something important. The ambassador's species must value order and predictability highly, and humans, especially human children, were anything but predictable. Ambassador, are you all right? Dr. Martinez asked, noticing his distress. So much chaos, he whispered. How do you live like this? 2 weeks into his stay on Earth, Ambassador Zex Torrell's health began to suffer. His normally blue-purple skin had a sickly gray tone. His forearms moved less gracefully. The diplomatic team was worried. We need to understand what's wrong, Dr. Martins said during a private meeting with Alan Pearson and FBI agent Natalie Johnson, who had been assigned as security for the ambassador. "Could it be our food? Our air?" Alan asked. Dr. Martinez shook her head. "We've tested everything. His ship's medical officer says physically he's fine. This appears to be a stress response." "Stress?" Agent Johnson raised an eyebrow. "We've been treating him like royalty." "I have a theory," Dr. Martinez said. "Remember his reaction to the reporter and the school children? I think he finds human behavior disturbing." "That's ridiculous," Alan said. "He's a diplomat. He must have dealt with all kinds of alien behaviors." "Let's review his schedule from the past week," Dr. Martinez suggested. They pulled up the ambassador's activities on a screen. Monday, visited a video game convention. Tuesday, attended an NBA basketball game. Wednesday, toured a movie studio filming an action movie. Thursday, visited a spicy food festival. Friday, watched a roller coaster at an amusement park. "Oh no," Agent Johnson said suddenly. "Look at what these activities have in common." The others stared at the list. Then understanding dawned on Alan's face. They all involve chaos, excitement, danger, or pain. "For fun." "Exactly," Dr. Martinez said. "I've been observing his reactions. When humans do unpredictable things, his stress levels spike. When humans deliberately seek out danger or pain for entertainment, he seems genuinely disturbed." Later that day, Agent Johnson accompanied the ambassador on a walk through a city park. She had been instructed to make the outing as calm and predictable as possible. "Is this more comfortable for you, Ambassador?" she asked, noticing his skin looked slightly better in the quiet setting. "Yes, thank you," Zex Toril said. "Your world is overwhelming." Agent Johnson chose her words carefully. "I understand our ways must seem strange to you." "Strange doesn't begin to describe it," Zex Toril said, his voice trembling slightly. "Yesterday, I saw humans voluntarily riding machines that spin them upside down at high speeds while they screamed." "Roller coasters," Agent Johnson nodded. "People enjoy the thrill." "Enjoy." Zex Toril stopped walking. "They enjoy feeling fear and danger. The feeling of fear in a safe environment can be exciting for humans," she explained. Zex Toril's four hands made a gesture she couldn't interpret. "And the spicy food that causes pain in your mouths. And the violent games your children play. And the arguments your leaders have on television where they shout at each other." Agent Johnson realized how alien these common human behaviors must seem. "We're a species that often seeks stimulation, even when it involves some discomfort or uncertainty. In all my diplomatic missions, I have never encountered a species like yours," Zex Toril said quietly. "My people avoid uncertainty. We find comfort in patterns and predictability. The Galactic Council species all share this trait, to some degree." "All of them?" Agent Johnson asked. "Yes. It's why we've been able to form a peaceful coalition. We value order above all." As they walked back, Agent Johnson was quiet, thinking about what this meant. Humans were fundamentally different from the Council species in ways that went beyond technology or biology. We seek out the very things they avoid. That evening, Zex Toril sent a private message to the Galactic Council. His hand shook as he recorded it. "I must report disturbing findings about humans," he began. "They appear to actively seek chaos, danger, and unpredictability. This is not a cultural difference we can easily bridge. I fear it may be a fundamental incompatibility with Council membership." As he ended the transmission, Zex Toril felt a wave of dizziness. The constant stress of being surrounded by humans was taking its toll. He wondered how much more he could endure. The large dining room was decorated with flags from around the world. Important people from many countries sat at tables covered with white cloths. Tonight was a special dinner to honor Ambassador Zex Toril. The ambassador sat at the main table, his four hands resting nervously on his lap. His skin had a dull gray color that worried Dr. Martinez, who watched from nearby. Next to the ambassador sat Alan Pearson and various world leaders. "We have prepared a special meal with dishes from many Earth cultures. announced the head chef. We begin with spicy foods from Thailand, India, and Mexico. Servers brought steaming plates to the table. The smell of chili peppers filled the air. The human guests looked excited, but Zex Torrell seemed confused. Alan Pearson noticed the ambassador's distress. Is something wrong? These foods contain capsaicin, Zex Torrell said quietly. Our research shows it causes pain signals in human mouths. Yes, Alan smiled. Many humans enjoy spicy food. The burn is part of the pleasure. Zex Torrell's skin flashed yellow with shock. You deliberately eat things that cause pain. For enjoyment. Before Alan could answer, a loud argument broke out at a nearby table. Two diplomats were shouting about trade policies. Why aren't security officers stopping them? Zex Torrell asked, his voice shaking. It's just a heated discussion, Alan explained. Political debates can get passionate. The ambassador's breathing became faster. On my world, public disagreement is considered highly inappropriate. Discussions are calm and orderly. The argument grew louder. At the same time, a young aide approached and showed something to Alan on a small screen. Ambassador, would you like to see this? It's gone viral today, Alan said, offering the screen. Zex Torrell looked at the video playing. It showed humans jumping off a tall bridge with elastic cords tied to their legs. They fell toward the ground, screaming before bouncing back up. What is this? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Bungee jumping. It's an adventure sport, Alan explained. It was too much. The spicy food that humans ate for pain. The loud argument that no one stopped. The video of humans willingly falling from heights. Zex Torrell stood suddenly, his chair falling backward. I cannot. He gasped. Then he collapsed to the floor. Security rushed forward. Dr. Martins pushed through the crowd and knelt beside the unconscious ambassador. His skin was flashing between yellow and gray. Get him to the medical facility in his ship, she ordered. Now. Later that night, Dr. Martinez, Agent Johnson, Alan Pearson, and marine biologist Kevin Blackwell met in a secure room. The ambassador is stable but refusing to leave his ship or speak to any humans, Dr. Martins reported. This is a disaster, Alan said. What went wrong? Kevin Blackwell, who had been studying the ambassador's biology, spoke up. I have a theory. Look at what we've learned about his species and their home planet. He showed images on a screen. Their world has no seasons, no natural disasters, and very few predators. Their evolution was completely different from ours. How does that explain his reaction to us? Agent Johnson asked. Humans evolved on a dangerous planet with changing seasons, natural disasters, and many predators, Kevin explained. We had to adapt quickly to survive. Our brains are wired to handle chaos and even seek new challenges. And his species didn't face those pressures, Dr. Martins said, understanding dawning on her face. Exactly. They evolved in a stable, predictable environment, Kevin continued. Their brains literally cannot process the level of chaos that humans consider normal. What's everyday life for us is a nightmare for him. Alan looked grim. So when we showed him humans enjoying spicy food, his brain interpreted it as humans being dangerously insane, Kevin finished. We've been measuring him by human standards without considering how different his evolutionary psychology might be. We need to create a controlled environment for him, Dr. Martins said. Calm, quiet, and absolutely predictable. Can we save this diplomatic mission? Alan asked. Agent Johnson looked out the window at the ambassador's ship glowing softly in the night. We have to try. But first, we need to understand his world better than we do our own. For 3 days, Ambassador Zex Torrell stayed inside his ship. The diplomatic mission seemed to be falling apart. News reports around the world speculated about what had gone wrong. Some people feared the aliens might leave Earth forever, or worse, see humans as a threat. Dr. Martinez and Agent Johnson sat in a quiet room, reviewing everything they knew about the ambassador's species. His medical officer allowed me to see their biological data, Dr. Martinez said. Their brain structure is fascinating. They have extra neural pathways dedicated to pattern recognition and very small areas for processing novelty or threats. The opposite of humans, Agent Johnson noted. We're constantly scanning for changes and potential dangers. Exactly. Look at these brain scans. Dr. Martinez showed images on her tablet. When humans see something new or dangerous, our pleasure centers often activate alongside our alert systems. It's why we enjoy horror movies and roller coasters. And in his species, new or unexpected inputs trigger only distress, no pleasure at all. His brain interprets our normal behavior as deeply threatening. Agent Johnson thought for a moment. So we need to create an environment that feels safe to him. They requested permission to visit the ambassador. After several hours, Zex Toral's assistant Grenval agreed to let them aboard the ship, but warned them the ambassador was still very unwell. The inside of the alien ship was surprising. Everything was arranged in perfect geometric patterns. The walls glowed with soft, steady light. No sudden movements, no unpredictable sounds. Zex Toral sat in a circular room. His color had improved slightly, but he still looked weak. "Thank you for seeing us, Ambassador," Dr. Martinez said softly. "We understand better now why our world has been difficult for you. Your species is unlike any we have encountered," Zex Toral said. His voice was steady but quiet. "You seek out the very things that cause distress. We evolved differently than your people," Agent Johnson explained. "Our planet was unpredictable and dangerous. We had to adapt to constant change. We brought something to show you," Dr. Martinez said. She carefully placed a small device on the floor. It projected images of Earth's most stable environments, deep caves that had remained unchanged for millions of years, peaceful gardens with carefully controlled designs, silent libraries where humans moved slowly and spoke in whispers. "There are places on Earth that might be comfortable for you," she said. "We can create spaces where you can interact with humans in controlled settings." Zex Toral watched the images with interest. "Your species can choose to create order amid your chaos." "Yes," Agent Johnson said. "We understand different needs. We can adapt." Over the next few days, they created a special meeting room based on the ambassador's ship design. Everything was predictable. Meetings followed strict schedules. Only a few humans were allowed in at a time, and they were trained to move calmly and speak quietly. In this controlled environment, Zex Toral slowly began to recover. He shared more about his world, a planet with no seasons, minimal weather changes, and a society built on perfect order. "Our technology advanced through careful, methodical steps," he explained to Dr. Martinez. "Each discovery built logically on the last. Humans often make breakthroughs through accidents or by trying random approaches," she said. "We call it innovation through chaos." Meanwhile, Colonel Howard's team made their own discovery while analyzing the ambassador's ship. "Sir, their defensive systems are actually less advanced than ours in some ways," reported one analyst. "They've never needed to develop certain military technologies because their part of the galaxy has been peaceful for thousands of years." "Are you saying we could actually defend ourselves against them if needed?" Colonel Howard asked. "Based on what we've seen, yes. Their ship has minimal weapons. They've never needed them." The colonel sat back, surprised. So the peaceful nature of their society has actually limited certain types of technological development, while our constant conflicts have driven innovation in unexpected directions, the analyst finished. "Chaos as an advantage." As Dr. Martinez continued her careful cultural exchange with the ambassador, she realized something important. Humans' chaotic nature might actually be our greatest strength in the galaxy. A month after Ambassador Zex Toral's arrival on Earth, a second alien ship appeared in orbit. The large vessel bore the official markings of the Galactic Council. Earth's governments went on alert again, unsure what this new arrival meant. "It's a medical evacuation team," Zex Toral explained to the human diplomatic team. His color had improved, But he still spoke from the safety of his controlled environment room. "The Council is concerned about my reports." "Are they taking you home?" Alan Pearson asked. Sextoral's four hands made a gesture of regret. "Yes, and they are considering classifying Earth as a restricted zone. Too dangerous for standard diplomatic relations. That would mean no trade, no cultural exchange, no sharing of technology," Dr. Martins said, alarmed. "I have tried to explain that humans are not hostile, merely different," Sextoral said. "But the Council fears what they don't understand. Your unpredictability makes you dangerous in their eyes." Agent Johnson frowned. "When will they arrive?" "Their shuttle will land tomorrow morning." "I am sorry." That night, as security teams prepared for the arrival of more aliens, a different kind of trouble was brewing. A small group of humans who called themselves Earth First had been growing more angry about the alien presence. They believed the aliens planned to take over Earth. "They're studying us, learning our weaknesses," said the group's leader to his followers. "Tonight we send them a message. Humans won't be conquered." The group of 20 people had gathered weapons and explosives. Their plan was to attack the ambassador's compound and force the aliens to leave Earth forever. Near midnight, alarms blared across the diplomatic zone. Security cameras caught images of armed people cutting through the outer fence. Inside the compound, Agent Johnson rushed to the ambassador's quarters. "We need to move you to your ship immediately," she told Sextoral. "There's been a security breach." The ambassador's skin flashed yellow with fear. "What is happening?" "A group of humans who don't want aliens on Earth," she explained quickly. "They're trying to break in." As they hurried toward the exit, an explosion rocked the building. Part of the wall collapsed, blocking their path. Smoke filled the hallway. "This way," Agent Johnson said, leading the ambassador down another corridor. Her training took over as she drew her weapon and stayed calm despite the chaos. Outside, security forces engaged with the attackers. Dr. Martinez was helping evacuate other staff when she saw someone was injured. Without hesitation, she ran to help, even as bullets flew nearby. Sextoral watched in horror from a window as the scene unfolded. The noise, the unpredictable movements, the danger, it was overwhelming. But then he noticed something strange. The humans weren't panicking. They were organizing, adapting, helping each other. Agent Johnson stood protective at his side, focused and calm despite the danger. Outside, Dr. Martinez was treating wounded people from both sides of the conflict, not caring which group they belonged to. "Why is she helping those who attacked us?" Sextoral asked, confused. "Because they're hurt," Agent Johnson said simply. "That's what we do." Something changed in the ambassador's understanding as he watched. These humans, who sought out chaos in their entertainment, who argued loudly at dinner tables, who ate food that caused pain. These same humans showed remarkable courage and compassion in a true crisis. When the attack was finally contained, Sextoral witnessed something that would forever change his view of humans. Agent Johnson had been injured protecting him, a cut across her arm from broken glass. Though she was bleeding, she had stayed at her post, putting his safety above her own. "You are hurt because of me," he said, his voice filled with new emotion. Agent Johnson shrugged. "It's my job to keep you safe." "No," Sextoral said slowly. "It is more than duty. You humans have something my people have never needed to develop. You have courage that comes from chaos." The morning sun shone on the landing field as the Galactic Council medical ship touched down. 5 aliens similar to Sextoral emerged, their skin bright blue and healthy looking. They moved with perfect coordination, each step measured and identical. The head doctor approached Sextoral, who stood waiting with Dr. Martinez, Agent Johnson, Alan Pearson, and Kevin Blackwell beside him. "Ambassador, we have come to take you home," the doctor said. "Your reports indicated severe psychological distress." "The situation has changed," Sextoral replied. His color was stronger now, almost back to its normal blue-purple. "I wish to continue my mission here." The doctor looked shocked. Impossible. The Council has reviewed your data. Humans are too unpredictable, too chaotic. They have been classified as a danger to Council species. The Council is wrong, Zextoral said firmly. The humans exchanged surprised glances. They had never heard the ambassador speak against the Council before. I must show you something, Zextoral continued. He activated a small device that projected images of the previous night's attack. It showed humans responding to the crisis, security personnel coordinating defenses, medical staff treating the injured, Agent Johnson protecting him despite her own wound, Dr. Martins helping everyone regardless of which side they were on. What am I seeing? The doctor asked, confused. Chaos turned to strength, Zextoral explained. These humans thrive in situations that would break our minds. Last night, I finally understood why. The doctor and his team watched the images with growing interest. Their evolutionary path was different from ours, Zextoral continued. They developed in an environment that required constant adaptation to survive. What we see as dangerous unpredictability is actually their greatest gift. But their behavior causes you distress, the doctor protested. Yes, and they have adapted to accommodate me. Zextoral gestured to the special meeting room they had created for him. They understand different needs. They can change their behavior when it matters. The doctor considered this. The Council will need convincing. Their patterns of behavior remain disturbing. Then let me speak to the Council directly, Zextoral requested. Later that day, in a special transmission, Ambassador Zextoral addressed the full Galactic Council. The human team watched nervously from nearby. Honored Council members, Zextoral began. I ask you to reconsider Earth's classification. Yes, humans are different from us in fundamental ways. Their unpredictability initially caused me great distress, but what I first saw as a flaw, I now recognize as a strength we lack. He showed them more images, human emergency workers running into burning buildings, doctors working tirelessly to save lives, scientists taking risks to discover new medicines. For 30,000 years, the Council has grown through encountering species similar to our own, Zextoral continued. But humans offer something new. They solve problems in ways we would never consider. They adapt to challenges that would paralyze our thinking. The Council deliberated for hours. Finally, the head counselor spoke. Ambassador Zextoral, your insights are valuable. We agree that humans represent an unusual case. We will not classify Earth as restricted. Instead, we will create a new category of Council relationship, adaptive ally status. Humans may not be suited for standard Council membership, but their unique abilities may prove valuable in situations where our traditional approaches fail. The human team could hardly believe what they were hearing. Not only was Earth not being isolated, but humans were being recognized for the very traits that had initially disturbed the ambassador. The Council requests a human delegation to visit our central worlds. The head counselor continued. We must learn more about your species' adaptive capabilities. As the transmission ended, Alan Pearson turned to Zextoral. Thank you, Ambassador. You've opened the stars to humanity. No, Zextoral said, his skin glowing with a new color they had never seen before, perhaps happiness. You have opened new possibilities for the Council. For 30 millennia, we have valued order and predictability. Perhaps it is time we learn to embrace a little chaos.